Yeah. Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhum Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukasvarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Dear devotees, we finished discussing Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha is one of the Prakarana Grantha, introductory manual to study Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic philosophy. So today, we are taking one more Prakarana Grantha, introductory manual, that is Drik Drishya Viveka, an inquiry into the seer and the seen. This is also one of the very famous book. So when we study such type of books, what happens? It clears the concepts or terminologies. Moreover, according to me, the way of thinking gets become right. Because many of the time, or most of the time, our thinking will not be right. What is right, what is wrong? What is true and what is not? What is real and what is unreal? We have got a wrong notions. We have got misconceptions. When these things are cleared, it will help us to pursue our spiritual life, to pursue our journey, to find oneself will be very clear. And also, if you see, man has become an enigma to himself. Today, we are able to go to Mars. We are able to go out of our solar system, reach the different planets, and all these things. Thanks to technology, no doubt. But at the same time, we are not able to understand our own true nature. Because of that, because of this one problem, we are facing a lot of hardships, lot of struggles we had to undergo. That's why our rishis, ancient spiritual scientists, they have made us to understand, they have tried to make us to understand that, my dear, you may go, you may develop, you may progress externally how much ever you want, never mind. But the internal growth, which is called evolution, that is very most important. Evolution of a being is very important. So when we say evolution of a human being, we don't mean here biological evolution, rather it is an intellectual evolution or spiritual evolution. Now, how Advaita Vedanta, the non-dualistic philosophy, discusses or defines the spiritual evolution? It only says that you are the complete man, you are the Purna, and you are the eternal, Nitya, and you are the existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. Only there is an ignorance of oneself or of your true nature, so you have to remove the ignorance. Just like there is already sun, but a thick cloud is covering the sun. The moment when the cloud has been dispersed, then we'll be able to get the complete sunlight. There is already light, but because of the glass or the chimney which is there in and around the light, it has got a black soot and dirt, so we are not able to get the complete light, lamp's light. The moment when we clear the lamp's glass, then we'll be able to draw the complete light. We'll be able to make use of the light. So similarly, we're already complete. We're already consciousness, but only we are not aware of it because of ignorance. So all this intellectual gymnasium or study of the scriptures is only removing the wrong notion or removing the ignorance. When this ignorance is removed, what happens? The suffering ceases to exist. Suffering comes to end. And the beauty is We have done a lot of mistakes in our life. From our childhood to now, if you remember, during studies, during our childhood days, during our adolescent, during our adult time, and even middle age. So many, if we introspect ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, or out of helplessness, or out of restlessness of the mind, or out of some compulsions, whatever it may be. We have done a lot of mistakes, errors. Because of that, we have to suffer, we have to undergo problems, we have to miss our targets and whatnot. And they have got their own effects and they have got their own results in our life that we are all well aware. Now, Advaita Vedanta says that is one of the greatest mistake we have done. It is the greatest blunder we have done is we are forgetting ourselves, or we have forgotten our real nature, our true nature. That is the root cause for all the problems. That is the root cause for all our miseries. Just like Buddha says, tanha, trishna, clinging, maybe clinging to world or worldly objects or whatever. So that is the root cause for our suffering, he says. So Advaita Vedanta says, ignorance of one's own true nature is the root cause for all the problems. So when the ignorance is the root cause for all the problems, then what can be the solution? So Advaita Vedanta says, only knowledge can be the solution. Because then there is a darkness in the room. What can the darkness can be removed? By what we can remove the darkness? It can be removed only through light. How much ever you cry, how much ever you clean, whatever you do, you will not be able to see things. The moment when we get light, then definitely we'll be able to see the things in the room and the darkness is removed. So similarly, the ignorance can be removed by the knowledge alone. And all other things, selfless action, then devotional practices, all these things are auxiliary sadhanas. They are the secondary sadhanas, are helping sadhanas according to traditional Advaita Vedanta. So this is very important for us because whoever are there here, the devotees of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, oh Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda has said something else, Sri Ramakrishna has something else, and you are saying something else. We are getting confused. So you should not get confused. So this is the traditional Advaita Vedanta approach. Now then Vivekananda is Advaitin, Sri Ramakrishna is Advaitin, then are they different? Are they not Advaitins? Then if you ask, it will be difficult for me to say in a one sentence yes or no. Then we have to give explanations. So when we have to study the scriptures, prasthanatrayas, the three guiding lights to reach the reality, that is Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutra, it is so subtle. So for a common people, it may be difficult for us to start understanding. Just one example, 4th or 5th standard student, if you start explaining the trigonometry or calculus or analytical geometry, definitely it will be difficult. So for the step by step, there will be mathematical equations or mathematical problems. We keep on studying. Then when we come to 10th standard or +1, +2, then we'll be able to comprehend calculus or trigonometry. So similarly, when we would like to study the advanced text, so the philosophers, they say that better you start your studies from the introductory text, where your terminologies get introduced, the way of thinking has been introduced, then the way of understanding, right way of understanding has been exposed, you are exposed to right way of understanding, then it will be easy for you to study advanced texts or prasthanatrayas. So this is one of the Prakarana Grantha introductory manual. So what is the Prakarana Grantha, treatise text or introductory manual? The definition for the Prakarana Grantha is Shastraika Desha Sambandham, Shastra Karyantare Sthitam, Ahuvu Prakaranam Nama, Grantha Veda Vipaschitaha. Means the meaning is, learned people say that a book which deals only with a particular topic or with particular topics or part of scripture is known as Prakarana Grantha or introductory text. So basically, according to the traditional learning, there are 6 topics which all the scriptures tries to discuss. So in this Prakarana Granthas, there may be all the 6 topics are covered, or maybe 2 or 1 or 4 or 5. So let us try to see what are these main 6 topics which every scripture has to deal with. So the first is the nature of the individual, that is Jivatma. So Jivatma Swarupa has to be discussed, it seems. The second is Jagat Swarupa, the nature of the world. The nature of an individual, first point, topic. Second topic is nature of the world, this mundane world, where we are living, we are experiencing day to day, in our day-to-day life, that mundane world, nature of the mundane world has to be explained. The third is the God or the Lord, or Ishvara, Ishvara Swarupa. Who is the God? Who is Supreme Self, Supreme Being? What is his nature has to be explained. This is the third topic. The fourth is the nature of the bondage, Bandhana. We're all in bondage. So that has to be discussed. The fifth is, since we are in bondage, we would like to get released. We want to be free. So we want to be liberated. So that is moksha or mukti. So the nature of moksha and mukti also has to be discussed or described. The sixth is, okay, so one has to be free now, one has to realize the self, or one has to attain moksha, that's all fine. Then how to attain it? The means to attain liberation, sadhanani. So moksha sadhana also has to be discussed. So one is Jiva Swarupa or Jivatma Swarupa. Then second is Jagat or Jagat Swarupa. The third is Ishvara or Ishvara Swarupa. So Ishvara Swarupa. Then the fourth is Bandhana. Fifth is Moksha. The sixth is Sadhanani. So all these 6 topics a scripture has to discuss. So in this Prakarana Grantha, at a broad canvas that has been classified into 2 groups. One is some Prakarana Granthas gives bird eye view on all the 6 topics. For example, Tattva Bodha. If you remember, all these 6 topics has been covered in a nutshell there. We did try to understand Jivatma with like 3 bodies or 5 with the 5 sheaths or whatever. Then nature of the world, Panchikarana, from Maya, how Brahman and Maya, how the world came, we understood. Then what is the nature of Ishvara, we did try to understand. Then why the bondage has happened, what is the nature of the bondage, also we tried to understand. Then we did try to understand liberation, moksha, what does it mean? And sadhanani also we try to understand. So like Tattva Bodha, Vedanta Sara, these are the few Prakarana Granthas where the bird eye view has been given on all the 6 topics. Now, there are some Prakarana Granthas where they have taken only few, 1 or 2 or 3 topics and they have discussed in detail. For example, Drik Drishya Viveka. In the Drik Drishya Viveka, all the 6 topics are not covered. For example, the nature of the Jagat and the nature of the Ishvara, we cannot find here in this Drik Drishya Viveka. And similarly, like Vakya Vritti also, we don't find all the 6 topics covered in the Prakarana Grantha. So this Drik Drishya Viveka also comes under second type of Prakarana Grantha, where all the 6 topics are not discussed in detail. So that's the reason first I took Tattva Bodha. Why? Because in Tattva Bodha, all the 6 topics are discussed in the nutshell. So at least we are introduced to the 6 topics. Now here, among the 6, few topics the author takes and he goes in deeper manner or in a detailed manner. So this Drik Drishya Viveka has got 46 verses, 46 slokas. If you remember Tattva Bodha, there it was a question and answer form in a dialogue forum. It was not in the poetries or slokas form, rather it was a prose form. Now, as just like all our ancient scriptures, most of the ancient scriptures will be in the verses form, even the Vakya, Drik Drishya Viveka also is in the shloka form, verses form. Now, if these 46 verses, if you see, number 1 to number 5, it discusses 3 types of seer. Seer number 1, seer number 2, seer number 3 has been discussed from verses 1 to 5. Then from verses 6 to 12, if you see, the formation of seers, the formation and function of the seers has been discussed. From 1 to 5, 3 types of seers has been mentioned. What are the 3 types of seers? From shloka 6 to 12, the formation and function of these seers has been explained. Then from 13 to 21, which is the main part of the Drik Drishya Viveka, there the cause and the remedy of the samsara or of the bondage has been explained. What is the cause of the samsara and what is the remedy to end the suffering, to end the samsara, or to attain the liberation has been explained in the 13 to 21st shlokas. In the 22nd to 31st here, which is one of the unique concept, unique things has been given only in Drik Drishya Viveka. Elsewhere, you don't see any Vedantic text, that is Vedantic meditation has been discussed. Nididhyasana. So according to the Vedanta, how one can meditate to realize the self has been discussed in the 21st to 22nd to 31st, and also phala. What are the fruits of realization? Self-realization also has been discussed there. Then 32 to 46, the summary of the whole text has been discussed again. Till 1 to 31, whatever has been discussed, the whole thing has been like a revision or in a brief manner or in the summary form has been discussed. Now, again, from the scholastic angle, if you ask me, there is a 2 opinions about this text. One is, what is that? Originally, there is only 1 to 31 were the only original verses. 32 to 46 has been later addition. There is a one argument, and others say that no, it was only recapitulation or revision or to make us clear understanding they have done. It is not so. The whole 46 verses also belongs to the only one author. There are 2 different opinions, so I think that should not matter for us. And also there is one heavy discussion and also difference of opinions with respect to author of the Drik Drishya Viveka. When we listen to such type of things, we all feel that, oh, Indians, we are not good at history, we don't have historic sense, so we don't keep properly the history and all facts and figures, etc., etc. Why, if you think in India, the personality was never important, the truth was always important. This thing we have to observe very clearly. In our ancient times, our people, they were not bothered about their names. They only bothered about their works. If this good principle or if this higher values, higher ideas, if it can reach to humanity, and if the humanity make use of it, make benefit of it, that was the end of their any work or writing. That's why they never bothered much about their personal life or personal agendas or personal name and fame. That's why they didn't mention about themselves in many of the places. This is one truth. And the second truth is, now already some people are famous and their surnames or their names are famous. So some authors, they wrote their own books in the probably in the famous people's name, so that they thought our works also will become famous because of he or she is the famous. This is also one, maybe a sort of ulterior motive we can judge. And the third is with respect to pontiffs. All pontiffs of Sringeri Mutt or any this Shankaracharya established mutts, all the mutts, pontiffs are called Shankaracharya only. Say, for example, now present Sringeri Shankaracharya, Bharati Tirtha Swamiji is also called Shankaracharya only. Vidishekara Bharati is also called Shankaracharya. Then the first Shankaracharya, who is called Adi Shankaracharya, that's why. Now, since every pontiff is called Shankaracharya, now Shankaracharya has written when we say that, so we refer to the same person, Adi Shankaracharya. So it is same thing with the even with the Drik Drishya Viveka. It is written by Shankaracharya, they say. Now, whether it is Adi Shankaracharya or different pontiff, as a pontiff of Shrungeri Mutt, it is highly debatable. But anyhow, there is one opinion that Adi Shankaracharya wrote, but though it is told, but most of the Pandits have not accepted that view. They say that either there is a Bharati Tirtha, one of not the present Bharati Tirtha. Earlier there was, I think, 600 to 800 years before, there was one pontiff of Shrungeri, Sharda Mutt. His name was also Bharati Tirtha, who was the guru of Vidyaranya. Vidyaranya, as you all know, that is the author of Panchadashi, which is a famous book. So Bharati Tirtha was the guru of Vidyaranya. He is an author. Bharati Tirtha is an author. And some say that Vidyaranya and Bharati Tirtha, both put together, both of them, they have written the Drik Drishya Viveka. Why? Because the Panchadashi style, the writing style, what we see in Panchadashi, so a similar style is also seen in Drik Drishya Viveka. So based on that grammar and language style and presentation style, some of them, they say Vidyaranya and Bharati Tirtha, the Guru and Shishya, both of them together, they have authored this Drik Drishya Viveka. So these are the three opinions. One is Adi Shankaracharya, the other is Bharati Tirtha, the third is either Vidyaranya or both of them have written Drik Drishya Viveka. So here mainly, if you see, Jiva Vichara is highlighted. The nature of the individual self has been highlighted in this present text. So the Ishvara, the God or the creator, and the creation, that is the world, mundane world, is not talked much. Maybe there is a reference, there is a mention, that's all. But otherwise, the nature of Ishvara and the nature of the Jagat has not been discussed detailed. But whereas Jiva, Bandha, Moksha and Sadhana, the four topics among the six, these are the four topics has been highlighted in Drik Drishya Viveka. So this is the background of the Drik Drishya Viveka. Now today, I will tell few words. Probably every one of you may have to note down, and you have to understand these words very clearly, because these words in the entire, till the end of the Drik Drishya Viveka, I'll be keep on repeating. So that every time I will not be able to explain it, you don't expect also. So these words should be very clearly drilled in your mind so that you'll be able to understand the further verses. Drik. So the Sandhi becomes Drik actually. So Drik. Drik means the seer, knower, perceiver, experiencer, illuminator, observer, and subject. All the synonyms, and of course, technically there are some differences also sometimes. So contextually they use it. So you have to understand very clearly. Drik is the seer, who is also called subject, is also called as seer, knower, perceiver, experiencer, illuminator, and observer. For example, now I am giving a talk or I am taking class on Advaita Vedanta and with respect to Drik Drishya Viveka. And you are all hearing it. And you are trying to know the subject. So you are the knower here. So when I am talking, probably some of you may be observing my thought currents. You are observing my language style. Or you are observing the approach to the subject. So you are called observer. And you are trying to know the Drik Drishya Viveka concepts, you are trying to know some things. So you are the knower. So Drik means it is the seer. So all these are synonyms. So contextual will be using different terminologies, but it all means same. That is Drik, that is seer. Who is that seer? I am that seer and you are that seer. So seer is not someone else, it is oneself. Now, Drishya, Drik, Drishya Viveka. Drishya. Drishya means seen, object. So, Drik, seer, subject, Drishya, seen, object. That is subject and this is object. This is known. This is perceived, experienced, illumined, observed. That is knower and this is known. And that is perceiver and this is perceived. and that is experiencer, and this is experienced, and that is illuminator, and this is illumined, and that is observer, and this is observed. So this fundamental difference has to be very clear in most of you. And now Viveka. Viveka means what? Discrimination. Discrimination between what? Discrimination between Drik and Drishya. Seer and the seen. Subject and the object. So here discrimination, the still correct way of explaining is what? Resolving actually. We have got confusion between Drik and Drishya. We have got a confusion between subject and object. We have got a confusion between experiencer and experienced. That's why we have to resolve. Probably in the court, suddenly a person has been, like a person has killed someone. So he was taken into the police have arrested him, and he was taken into the court. Then he was standing and all the things were happening. Suddenly one more fellow comes of the similar nature or the similar outlook, physical outlook. He comes and say, no, he's not a thief. He is not a killer. I am the killer. He comes and says, I am the killer. And the person who was already in the court, he says, no, he's telling lie because he wants to save me. That's why I am the killer, but he's not the killer. So confusion starts. Everyone gets baffled, either lawyer or police or the court judge, everyone. Then most of the time court gives a judgment. Please make sure that who is the killer among the two, then we will see about the particular case. So there, the police has to first resolve who is the killer person. So whether he has to be punished or he has to be let free, it can be discussed afterwards. First, it has to be resolved who is the person who has killed XYZ. So similarly, here there is a confusion between Drik and Drishya, that is between subject and object. So we have to resolve. So resolving is called here discrimination, Viveka. So it is like there's a confusion between Drik and Drishya, experiencer and experienced. There's a lack of clarity between the observer and the observed. So that lack of clarity has to be removed and clarity has to be what? There's a confusion. Confusion has to be removed and right thinking, right knowing has to be established. That's why we have to do the inquiry into the discrimination between the seer and the seen. Why? Probably if you see Hamsa Kshira Nyaya, they say. There are so many Nyayas, which is in Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa. Hamsa Kshira Nyaya is swan, not the duck. Hamsa, we all know that Hamsa. So if you mix the water and the milk, both, and if you give it, it has got a very tremendous capacity that it only sucks the milk and it leaves the water portion, it seems. If it is given for us, we have no other way out other than drinking. But if you give milk, mix the milk and water, and if you keep in front of the swan, it has got a special capacity. It sucks only the milk portion, milk content, and it lets out, it leaves the water portion. Similarly, if you mix the sand and the sugar, and if you give to the ant eats or consumes only the sugar, and it leaves away the sand. Even Sri Ramakrishna says that. How one has to live in the world. World has got all the mixture of opposites, but you have to, just like ant picks only sugar and leaves the sand, similarly, we have to pick on only the good things and leave away the bad things. Or hold on to the truth, hold on to the self, hold on to God, and leave rest of the things. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example through his teaching. So similarly, there has been a confusion between Drik and Drishya, seer and the seen. It has to be resolved. It has to be sorted out. Now, the immediate question should come for all of us. Okay, Swamiji, now by sorting out what I am going to get, by sorting out what you will get, your ignorance has been destroyed. From Buddha, we will be traveled into or will be reformed into Buddha. From Buddha, we will become Buddha. From the deluded human being, from the ignorant being, we become the enlightened ones or the knower of the truth. Once we become enlightened ones, the knower of the truth, then no more miseries, no more taking birth and death, and no more attainment of something. I'll be happy at the given circumstances. My social status may not be changed. My economical status might not be changed. I'll be living in the same house, with the same job, with the same lifestyle and all, but I will be at peace. So in the family, there may not be change. Or in your work style, you may not be changed. In your office may not be changed. And you may not get a lot of money, never mind. But in spite of all that thing, you can live peacefully, you can live happily by knowing the truth. So by resolving the confusion between the Drik and Drishya, by resolving it, what happens? You will realize, you will know the reality, you will understand the reality, you will experience the reality when it is done in the given point of time, in the given point of circumstance or situation. You can live happily, peacefully. For that only we are always struggling and we are trying, if you see. Either one is for happiness and the other is for security. For both of these things we are struggling, and both are attained not by the worldly pursuits, maybe to a certain extent, but really the happiness and the security can be obtained only by knowing oneself, or from the devotional point of view, by knowing God or by experiencing God. And what is that confusion? Technically, they say it is called aviveka or adhyasa. Adhyasa is what? It is atasmin tadbud. What it is not, and we are thinking it is. That is what the adhyasa, superimposition. And at the individual level, it is called moha, delusion. When our mind is covered with the moha, delusion, we will not be able to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. Oh, his mind has been deluded. That's why he's not able to understand what is right and what is wrong. He is foolishly is behaving. We keep making such type of statements in the day-to-day things. So similarly, even we have got a spiritual delusion, so we are not able to discriminate and understand what is real and what is appearance. So for that, we have to study Drik Drishya Viveka to understand what is real and what is appearance. So when we can understand, when we get conviction, then our spiritual life will be quickened, and our spiritual life will be it will be very focused. And when we put into practice these values, when we experience that truth, then there will be no more samsara. That is the cycle of birth, you can say. That is, you can say sorrow, you can say, and ignorance, you can say. That will be completely annihilated, removed, or destroyed. Now let us try to understand what is seer. 3 types of seer has been explained in the first verse itself. The first verse is called Pratigna Shloka. Pratigna Shloka is like the author, whatever he wants to tell, he will tell in 1 or 2 shlokas. That is called Pratigna Shloka, which is very important. So afterwards, the next shlokas only will be explanation of this particular shloka. So whatever has been told already in a gist form, it has been told. Then afterwards, because people cannot understand and comprehend, so that idea has been taken, and in a detailed way or in an elaborate way, the author continues to say. So the first, whatever he told in a very gist form, in a capsule form, in a comprehensive form, that is called Pratigna Shloka. So even this shloka number 1 or verse 1 is called Pratigna Shloka. Rupam Drushyam Lochanam Drukta Drusyam Drukta Manasam Drushyadi Vrittayas Sakshi Drugeva Nata Drushyate. A beautiful verse. Very what you say, even sometimes I feel like it is very dramatic way the author is trying to tell what is Druk and what is Drishya, and how 3 types of Druks are there. Very beautiful way he has told. Who knows bit Sanskrit, one can enjoy the language style of the author here. The form is perceived and the I is its perceiver. I don't think word-to-word meaning you need it, so I'm giving it just a running meaning. If I is perceived, the mind is the perceiver. And the mind with its modifications is perceived, and the witness is verily the perceiver. But the witness is not perceived by any other. Now, just I will go to the explanation of the detailed explanation of this first verse. So most of you are able to see me. So if you take the Shantivratananda's a forum, so all of you are able to see Shantivratananda's this physical frame, Since you are able to see me, this is called object. So you are able to perceive the object, how? Through your sense organs called eye. Means your eye has become knower, and this Shantivratananda's physical frame has become the known. Now you will understand why I told you already, knower and known, seer and seen, observer, observed, these to be clear, otherwise you'll get confused. So through your naked eyes, maybe some of you with spectacles, you are able to see me. So your eyes have become the knower, and this physical frame of the Shantivratananda has the known. That means your eyes are the Druk, and the physical frame of the Shantivratananda is the Drishya. Why? Because it is known, and your eyes are the knower. Through your eyes, you are able to get that knowledge. There is a person called Swami Shantivratananda. His form is like this. His physical frame is like this. Form. That's what Rupam. Rupam here, form. Form means any object form of any object can be taken here. So seer number 1 is what? Our sense organs with respect to sense objects. So seen 1 is called sense objects, and seer 1 is what? Our sense organs. Now he has given only Rupam. Now you can, if you take your Indriya, Shravanindriya, that is ear, you are hearing a good music, some pleasant music. So the pleasant music is known, and your ears, through your Gnanendriya, this is ear, you are able to perceive it, you are able to experience it, you are able to know it. That's why your ear organs are seer or knower, and the music, whatever you are hearing, that is known. So similarly, you are beautifully tasting a masala dosa. So masala dosa is the known or an object, and your tongue, jivha indriya, the tongue indriya, is the knower. If your taste buds, your tongue is not active, then when you eat masala dosa, you don't understand otherwise. Isn't it? You are able to experience why? Because of your indriya, that is sense organs. So seer number 1 is what? Sense organs, and seen one is what? Objects, physical objects. We look so many things every day. We are experiencing it. We are knowing it. That is what the known. Now, the next is, you are seeing a beautiful rose. Fine. So the rose is the seen or object. Who is the seer? Your eyes are the seer. Rose is the seen, and the seer is what? Eyes. The eyes saw an object which is called, which has got a red color and particular form, particular shape. That the data has been arrested or taken from the eyes, and it sent to the mind. In the brain or in the mind, it has been worked, and the mind gives the signal that, okay, that is rose. So with respect to mind, your sense organs become seen, and your mind has become the seer. Or with respect to the mind, the sense organs has become the known, and your mind has become the knower. So with respect to the mind, your sense organs have become seen to, and your mind has become seer to. So one by one, we are going back. So you have to understand. First, you saw the rose. Rose is what? Seen 1. Your eyes are seer 1. So your sense organ eye got the image of the rose, and it has sent to the mind. Mind is processing the information, and it is telling that it is rose. So with respect to mind, the seer 1, which was the sense organ, it became seen 2 now, and now seer 2 has become the mind. Earlier, seer 1 was sense organ, now seer 2 has become mind. In seen 1 was rose, and now seen 2 has become, that is Druk 2 or Drishya 2, and seen 2 has become the sense organs. Fine. And now third, there is a self-consciousness. That is why I am able to experience all these things. So with respect to consciousness, I have become the seer number 3, and the seen 3 has become the mind. So scene, seer, scene, seer, scene, seer, it is getting slowly little shifting. So you have to understand. First is scene 1, object, that is rose. Then seer 1 was sense organ eye. Then second, scene 2 was sense organ eye. Seer 2 is the mind. Now, scene 3 is the mind, or seer number 3. Seer number 3 is what? Self or consciousness or witness, according to the Drik Drishya Viveka. Sakshi uses the word obviously. Okay, I mean, time and again, that is what Sakshi or witness. So we have 3 types of seers here. First type of seer was what? Sense objects. So, I mean, sense organ or organs. The second type of seer was mind. And the third type of seer is what? The self or the witness. So 3 types of seer. And similarly, 3 types of scene. First type of scene one is what? Objects, sense objects. The second scene is what? Sense organs. The third scene is what? Mind. And what about the fourth scene? No, there is no fourth scene. Only 3 scenes, only 3 seers. Why? Because our first time the seer number 1 was sense organs, and when it come to mind, it became seen. The seer number 2, mind, when with respect to Sakshi or witness, self, it became scene 3. Then will the witness or consciousness also will become seen with respect to something else? No, because the seer number 3, the self or the witness, it is eternally seer, it will never become seen. This is what the author is trying to tell. Drugeva natu drishyate. Druk eva, it is always seer. Natu drishyate, it is never seen. It will never become seen. It never appears to be seen. Means what? The seer number 3, the witness, is always the eternal seer. So the first seer, rose. First scene is rose. First seer is eye or any sense organ. Second scene is sense organs. Second seer is mind. Then third scene is mind. Then the third seer is what? Self or Sakshi or witness. Witness. The third seer is witness. So Rupam Drishyam Lochanam. The form is perceived. How? Lochanam. Through this eye. So that's why scene 1 is what you say, Rupam, that is any sense objects. Lochana is sense organs. Then Lochanam Druk. Tadrishyam Druktamanasam. When mind has become the seer, then the sense objects have become Drishya, that is the scene. Then Drishyadi Vrutta is Sakshi. Sakshi, when Sakshi becomes Drishya, Druk, then what happens? Then the mind becomes the scene. Drukeva natu Drishyate. But the seer will never become, the witness will never become the scene. It is the eternally seer. When you hear this, what is this seer scene has happened? This is what, okay, we understood. If you write seer number 1, seer number 2, seer number 3, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, we will be able to understand. Sense objects, mind, sense objects, sense organs, and mind. Scene 1, 2, 3. Seer 1, 2, 3, sense organs, mind, and the self. That's all. What is there here must to understand? It is easy to understand what it is. It appears, but when we read and when we try to understand deeply, we will be able to we understand the significance of it. By this just analogy, one can reach self-realization, one can reach oneself, or one can realize oneself. Though it looks very simple, when we go deeply into it, then we'll be able to understand, oneself. So probably, till here I will stop today. So this scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, seer 1, seer 2, seer 3. So please make a homework and keep it clarity in your mind. Then with this only, at least for few more slokas, we'll be oscillating between these 3 types of seers and 3 types of scene. Otherwise, you will get confused. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.